this whole design process and coming through Pensole, learning a lot from the guys here, Dwayne and Suzette, just so incredibly knowledgeable, to then transitioning from, I have my own footwear brand, which is like comfort fashion, and then transitioning to the sort of sneaker performance world and working with Adidas has been a pretty incredible experience. I mean, they're very different industries. One of them is very technical and the other one is much more comfort driven, and it's different. Yeah, Adidas knows I've got my own brand. Mine is more comfort fashion and Adidas is performance based. It's all about the athlete, so there's no issues there. I'm working at the Brooklyn Farm, which is very much around setting the direction and the vision for the company. We're working on 2020 product now. And with the farm, it's not about like working on anything that's going to go to market. It's about, inspiring the inline designers to look at, something fresh and new and inspire them to design. Yeah, it's like comfort. My brand's like comfort fashion. It was all built around a travel shoe, the ideal travel shoe. My wife was a flight attendant. And, when I first started, I didn't have enough money. So I was like, let me design one shoe that stays the same and we'll change the colors and materials. And we built this whole community around travel and art. I would compare like my brand to something like a Tom's or a Allbirds or, a Timberland. It's like, it was meant to be the shoe version of the Havaiana. It's that one shoe that stays the same. And then you just change the materials and colors. You know your size, you know how comfortable it is, and you just keep coming back each season. When I finished Pensole, I took Pensole as a design sabbatical. I had my own brand and I just felt like I wasn't designing enough. Like I was designing like four days, a season. And I was like, no, I want to take that time out, not focus on the business and really go back to the creative side that I had. And so that was an incredible part of my personal growth. And so after doing that and winning the Asics Challenge, I had Foot Locker reach out, I had Asics, just seeing what I was doing. I had a lot of companies looking at me. And then I did the Lace Up show and was fortunate enough to win that also. And so that's when things really started coming into play. But yeah, part of the award, or part of the prize was getting a job at Adidas, so that's why. And I was lucky enough to be placed in the farm because that's where I wanted to be. I really wanted to be at the farm because, for me, I've got my own brand. This is about me having a contribution to culture, and to it's less about just a job for me. I really want to work on future products. I want to sort of set the tone and be part of the conversation that we're having about driving this, the industry forward. Looking at leather innovations, looking at the way. Look at anthropology and the way that people interact with brands and act with products and create tribes and communities around that. I think what I've learned, I moved my whole family from Australia to come and have this opportunity to create with the best, right? I'm at the farm now, we're working with, celebrities and, incredible creatives. The one thing I probably now, knowing where I am, is just work on cool shit yourself. I think that there's nothing really stopping you from doing that. I always think that you think, well, I need better resources, or I wish I could work with this person. You know what? Just, work out where you want to be and sit yourself down and create it. I think that was because, now I've been able to get in front of some of these incredible influencers. But if you have nothing to show them, it's not about what's here, it's about what you've actually done. If you do incredible work, they'll come to you. I get my inspiration from everything. Honestly, I'll be walking down the street and I'll see the way, just seeing snow today makes you think about how you can create something that's not going to make you slip while you're walking, or you look at when somebody's wearing the way they're rocking something and you pick up the way the colors work together, or the way that, the textiles bounce off each other. Or when you're traveling, you look at different cultures, music, food, there's inspiration in everything. Yeah, I feel like I've got my own style. It's sort of minimal versus maximal. So I like to strip everything back and then throw everything back in. That's just sort of how I work. And it's, for me, I think, I like to look at design and think about what's the intended use, who's it for, and then sort of add my flair on top of that. But the problem with that is it's all about the details then. So you've really got to be, every material counts and every color has to be on point. Obviously I love a lot of what, Virgil and Jerry Lorenzo and all that are doing. But I'm really more inspired by people like the Madberry Club, the people that are creating product that's accessible to everyone. But even though it's super limited, and you gotta know when shit's dropping, you gotta go there, but their aesthetic is on point, and I don't feel like they're trying to please many people. They're just creating work that they love, and ultimately a smaller community get behind it and really, push. I think it pushes culture. I really appreciate what they're doing, and I think I was talking about it earlier today, where I think Virgil and that they're taking that sort of remix approach to art, and I think that's really cool. It's like what hip hop was doing 20, 30 years ago. But I also like, what Madberry is doing in a way of complete exploration, like challenging the way things are done, and I think that that's more relevant to me. Like I don't feel comfortable going around rocking a Supreme shirt, it just isn't my thing, and I'm not going to drop $1,000 on a Fear of God, even though I really appreciate and love the aesthetics of it. I just think the product needs to be a bit more accessible, because at the end of the day, the community that is really aspiring to this isn't going to drop that regularly. I think the way that the industry is going now, I think that it's missing a big gap, right? Like you have all these huge influencers designing product like Virgil, Pharrell, and then you actually have the brands reaching out to the consumers and designing alongside them. And the reality is a lot of those consumers don't know how to design products, right? And a lot of them probably shouldn't. Some of those ideas look a bit whack, and so there needs to be a middle ground. It's where are the cool independent brands? They're not being celebrated or necessarily supported because they can't get these big influencers to back them. So I hope that there's going to be a middle ground. I think that it's happening in clothing, and I think it's going to happen with footwear as it becomes much easier to produce footwear. I like the Yeezys. I mean, I don't have a pair. And once again, it's probably because I don't subscribe to the hype culture. I think what he's done culturally is super impactful, but I think that there's more to it. I think that we really need to empower independent designers, and I think Nike and Adidas, they've just been swapping hands for a while now, right? And I think Big Baller Brand had the right idea. People wanted something fresh, but they just didn't deliver to the promise. So. I think that there's room for some new, fun, cool independents that are doing their thing. I mean, Filling Pieces looked like they were going to do their thing for a minute, but I don't know. I mean, the problem is everyone's really copying a lot of everyone's starting to look the same. That Triple S came out, Balenciaga, that shoe is fire, and now there's just so many copies of it coming around, biting that same style.
Yeah, I'm seeing now Fear of God, but their high tops and stuff they're pretty much stealing the Jordan color scheme, the black and white and the
red. It looked like a Virgil shoe from far. They look like the Chicago ones.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was like, wow.
It's kind of where's their creativity?
Yeah, that was a bit disappointing for me. I think they just gotta. I think you gotta stay in your lane, do something fresh, man. I mean. It'll be interesting to see where it goes now. Virgil's been super relevant for a while now. Jerry's been doing his thing, and I think they've all been pushing that same look, and I think that's why it's become so big. But now it's starting to blend together. I think for my personal brand, the Rollie brand, it's been very disconnected from me personally, because it's not a sneaker brand, but I'm a sneakerhead, and I hate to say that word, but what I'm saying, I got a lot of respect for the sneaker game, and so I'm getting that brand to a point where I can now focus on my own personal branding, and I'm gonna start dropping some shoes, some limited shoes over time, just to explore and see if the community can accept it. My personal sneaker connection, I mean, I do have the off-white Jordan 1s because I just think they're crazy. I wear a bit triple boost, human races. I do have those hype shoes, but at the same time, I'm making a lot of my own stuff. So I wear a lot of my own shoes, stuff that I haven't released, but I will. I report directly to Mark Dolce, which is awesome. The guy is an incredible inspiration. And I think along like me, we've seen so many niche shoes that we're at that point now. We've got to go back to leather. How can we innovate leather? And so that's one of my strong focuses at the farm. And he's extremely supportive. Every time I go in, I just go straight to the maker lab and just start making shoes, exploring ideas, and it's exciting to see where we're going to be in the next couple of years.